What's up, y'all, and welcome back to the Cafe Damietta podcast on WVCR 88.3 The Same. And you may be realizing, you may be wondering, wait a minute, this is not the usual host. Well, that's right, because I'm your new host, Samya Clarke. And today, we'll be actually interviewing the previous host, Kelyse Mallory. She is a biology major, and she's a senior about to graduate. How do you feel about that?
Girl, y'all, I'm getting old. I had to put Samya in the hot seat. I had to turn it over. And with graduation coming up, it's a little bittersweet knowing that I'm leaving this behind. I'm leaving Siena, but excited. I'm so happy to be in the interviewee seat today. How do you feel as the interviewer?
I'm feeling a little nervous, but I think I'll be able to pick up where you left off. I definitely will try to live up to what you left behind for the Cafe Damietta podcast, and hopefully I'm able to reach the expectations of the viewers. So, speaking of Siena, how, for your 4 years here, how was that experience for you?
Yeah, I would definitely say, like, freshman year, sophomore year was not as involved as I became my junior year and my senior year. Freshman year was, I live in Long Island, right? So being so used to a certain demographic in my hometown at school and then coming to a completely different demographic at a PWI was a culture shock for me. So I was in my room. I really only talked to the same few people, didn't really go to events because I'm like, oh, that's corny. Little did I know, whatever. Sophomore year, as a bio major, it was also like biology just being super hard for no reason. So, Orgo came and conquered. But, junior year, we persevered. And then senior year, just putting so many things on my plate and doing so much. But it paying off because I'm graduating T minus what? T minus 13 days.
Yeah. All right. So I know you mentioned being more involved on campus now that you're in your junior and senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about what clubs and like what activities have you been involved in these past years?
Yeah. So I've been a part of the mentoring program since my sophomore year. And that's just a program where like kids come to campus and the bigs, that's what they call them, bigs and littles, they just hang out. It's like every other Saturday. They do activities, they give advice, and it's just like to be there for the kids. So I love my little, his name is Darian. I'm so sad to be leaving him, but we're going to stay in touch. I'm also a part of the Black Student Union, which I've been involved with since my freshman year, but not as involved. Like last year, I was the community service liaison. Ain't really do nothing with that. But this year, I became the secretary, which was, more collaborative with the president and the vice president and planning stuff such as the fashion show and just sending out emails and booking rooms and stuff. But it was just like I felt like I had more of a role in the Black Student Union. And then also the Solid Step team. Hey, Solid. Hey.
Shout out.
Yeah. As the president and captain of the Solid Step team, it's just been so rewarding to see like how much the team has grown since when I first started like my sophomore year. Like to us being like this past semester was our busiest semester. So just seeing how we went from only having 2 major events to perform at every year to having like 7 events in a semester. That's a lot.
That is.
So, yeah, that's just a little bit of what I'm involved with. Oh, how could I forget? Damietta, the Damietta Cross Cultural Center. I kind of just walked in and I said, not even thinking anything, and I was offered a job, and here we are. Like the podcast is up and running, and like this is only the start of what is gonna come out of this podcast. So I'm just really excited to be here and to just have you, finishing the work.
And finish the work I will.
Yeah.
Okay, so it definitely does sound like you have a lot to juggle between your clubs, your major, biology, super difficult.
Right.
How do you manage all of that, like keeping track of like...
Right. Yeah, good question. Because honestly, Samaya, sometimes I don't feel like I'm keeping track of anything. I don't. And I do feel like my time management, I feel like as I've matured throughout my 4 years here at Siena, like obviously time management, like I don't like the way procrastination makes me feel. I got to do something about it. You know what I mean? So my junior year, that's when I really started to prioritize school. Wow, finally, right? But anyway, yeah, junior year is when I really started to prioritize that. And what does that look like? For one, getting assignments done, like not going outside. Why am I going outside to a party and my schoolwork isn't done? That's crazy. But you couldn't tell you couldn't tell sophomore year me that. You know what I mean? Or freshman year. What else? Not being scared to say no, because it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, we all have to remember why we're here. And for me, that's to graduate. I'm the first grandchild, first generation. Like, I gotta graduate.
Period.
Because it's not just me graduating, but it's my family as well. So keeping those in mind. And honestly, listen, I gotta talk about the Lord, because without him, I would not be here. Like, everything that I had to do this semester, and the fact that it's like I'm at the end of it and everything's done, all glory and honor goes to him. Because without him, none of that would have been possible.
Amen.
Amen.
I like that.
You know, we go to a Franciscan school. I got to talk about the Lord.
Of course.
Okay.
So, with all that in mind, how did all these Siena experiences shape you into the person you are today?
Okay. So many experiences, good and bad. And I feel like, without getting too much into the Kelyse lore, I do feel like, there's always going to be growth. Like, growth is inevitable. It's just a matter of what that growth looks like for you. I do think, to talk about the Solid Step team, I think kind of being thrown into a leadership position forced me to grow. So for the Solid Step team, I was thrown into a leadership position, but also, I forgot to mention, I'm also involved with Next, right? And for Next, I was also thrown into a leadership position. And at first, I'm like, I don't understand why these people keep giving me this stuff to do. But looking back, they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, hold on. This person telling me to do this, and this person telling me to do this. Why? And it took me a while to stop trying to figure out why and just understand that it just happened because I'm qualified. And like, how can you say that if you don't believe it? So now I definitely believe it, because obviously I'm qualified. I made it work. But wait, what was the question, Samaya? I'm so sorry. What was the question?
You're good. Okay, so the question was, how did these Siena experiences shape you into the person you are today?
Oh, yeah. I feel like kind of just going with the flow of people believing in me and just trusting my capabilities forced me to become a leader. And this is part of the reason why I was able to get the position at Damietta doing the podcast, is because Davina saw something in me as a leader that I didn't see within myself. And also, Davina is our advisor for the Solid Step team. So there would be times when I would be in her office, unsure, very indecisive as a leader. Like, how does that work? But like, that was me. I was indecisive. I was like, do you guys want to do this? Instead of saying, okay, we're going to do this. And I would say, like, firsthand, she's the one to see that growth, because I was just very unsure. And all of these experiences, even in the mentoring program, all of these have shaped me to become the leader that I am today.
I love that response. That was very insightful, very deep. Wait, that was really good. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, on the topic of your leadership position and roles, you obviously have to build connections with the people that you're leading.
Absolutely.
So, what can you say about the bonding that you've done with your team? Like, do you think these are bonds that you will continue to grow outside of Siena once you graduate? Or do you think, like, it's going to stay on campus? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, and I think the most important thing for every leader to be successful is connection. You know what I mean? Like, how am I going to lead you and you don't know me? I'm a stranger. Or how am I going to lead you and there's no trust there, right? And I think that's the most important thing. Like, for the Solid Step team, we did team bonding, and also just like outside of practice, I'm hello, how are you? Like, like it's not just I'm your leader in practice and that's it. Like, there's no communication. No, no, no. In order for the team to be successful, you have to have some rapport with the one in charge. Damietta, like I'm always there. So you're bound to make connections, you're bound to meet friends and just to get to know people. I think that's the most important thing because everybody is their own person with their own life, with their own things going on. And I think once you realize, okay, like this is a person who has their feelings, let me get to know them. Like, how are you? And not just, hi, how you doing? And pass them, but just like, how are you? You know what I mean? And as far as like the connections I've made, I do think that I've made lifelong friends here at Siena. Not because, I mean, obviously, yay, hey, it's a good day to be a saint. You know what I mean? But like also just like, wow, like these are people who have seen me in my darkest moments. Mm-hmm. You know, like people who I've grown attached to over the course of 4 years or as little as a semester. You know what I mean? But yeah, and I just think it's just so important that people realize that as you are here for these 4 years, you are going to gain connections and you are going to grow closer to people. Mm-hmm. And it's important for your 4 years here to grow closer to people. Like you can't do this by yourself. You can, but it's so much easier when you have people in your circle.
Mm-hmm. I like that answer a lot. That was really nice. So that's beautiful. And I will say, like, I can, like, first-handed, I can say that you are very, like, sweet. Like, you always do ask me how I am. You always ask all of us how we are. And definitely there's been a bond that's been growing, like, since I first met you. And
oh, that's so nice to hear, girl. Because likewise, all love over here. And I'm just so happy to have met you and to have gotten closer to you this semester.
Likewise. Same. Okay. So as like kind of like a final type of question, what would you say to any students or like, what would you say to any like incoming students that's like coming to Siena? What would you say as advice for their first year on campus or just people that's just like thinking about Siena? Like, what would you say?
Yeah, I would definitely say like part of the reason why I chose Siena is because it's a small school, right? Mm-hmm. And with that small school, like it's easier to know everyone. It's easier to get to know, not everyone, but like mostly, like you see the same faces often. Mm-hmm. And for anybody considering Siena, I would definitely say to like find your people. Like the sooner you find your people, the better. And like don't be discouraged because it's a small school or because you feel like you're not going to fit in. Like there is something here for everyone. As a Black woman at a PWI, I feel like I found my place in the Solid Step team and the mentoring program and in my major as a biology student and also like just as on the Solid Step team, like there is a place for everyone. And next, I found my place as a leader and somebody may find their place in the mock trial or in Spike Bowl. You just never know. And there's so many opportunities here for everyone and just give it a try. Don't be scared to just do something because you probably won't regret it.
Oh my gosh, wait. You ate that? That was a really good response. Yeah. Love that. Okay, so, and to my listeners out there, I didn't forget about you, but did you forget about us? Just now, we just finished wrapping up Kelyse's life on campus and how she's just been, like, how it's been on campus for her. And as you can tell, it was really good, really good. But to get to the meat of the conversation, the topic of today, I want to talk about Black women in STEM.
Love it.
Representation, just being present in the field, because I'm a biochem major and Kelyse is a biology major.
Talk about it.
So I think it's very important to discuss seeing people that's like us in the medical field and just being able to break past the normal, just being able to break past societal norms. Because you don't typically see a lot of people that look like just Black people in general, especially Black women in this field. So I feel like it's important that we see this representation for any little Black girls out there that want to get into this field and don't feel like they see enough of them out there. They feel motivated to be able to come to the field. So, why did you, Kelyse, go into the biology major?
Awesome. And to your point before, I think for the little girl out there, like representation matters. You know, as someone who has a black pediatrician, I'm 21 years old, but I still go to her because she said I'm good until I'm 25. So I'm going to go there. But it wasn't until I started learning about just the disparities in healthcare compared to like a black woman and her white counterpart that really piqued my interest in medicine. And I took AP biology in high school and AP chem, and I felt like this is where I felt most comfortable with the material. I didn't do well in history. Math wasn't for me. You know, even I couldn't run away from math even in biology, but I just felt like science, like there's always something to learn, and I felt like this is a space where I can just continually keep growing. So, yeah, that's kind of why I was set on biology when I came to Siena.
I can definitely relate to that because I definitely feel like when I was taking sciences in like high school, especially on the AP bio, like I felt like, dang, like this is actually what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I want to see myself doing in the future for my career. So my next question is, what do you want to do with your biology degree, like once you graduate?
Yeah, so I definitely want to use my degree, and the end goal is med school. So I'm gonna be taking 2 gap years after graduation and just getting my application together for med school. But you know, the end goal is to be Dr. Mallory, and whatever field, whatever path that looks like, I'm leaving it to the Lord and setting up a meeting with the health advisor to really outline those gap years. But I see myself as being someone's doctor, and I believe that biology was the best path to get me that, you know?
That's really good. That's really good. Um, do you have any lean? Like, are you just totally leaving it up to God? Like, is it like, do you want to like be a doctor to kids, adults?
Yeah. So right now it's pediatrics. I know earlier in the episode I talked about like my, like, whoa, working in the mentoring program, and there I just get to see kids. And at the end of the day, like a kid is a kid. You know what I mean? And just being able to witness that firsthand, like at the mentoring program and here at Siena, it kind of like also just solidified my decision to work with kids. But again, kind of leaving it up to God because I can have something set in stone and the Lord can tell me this is not for me. You know what I mean? So just kind of like leaving it up to Him, but also presenting my requests and my desires to Him.
I love that answer. So, when you mentioned having a black pediatrician, did she also lead to you wanting to be in this field, or was it more so?
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yes, you can.
So, ever since I was like 5 years old, I was set on being a lawyer. Can you imagine that?
I could.
Okay.
Can
you? Right. Yeah. So was set on being a lawyer, just telling everyone, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer someday. I'm going to be in someone's courtroom. I get to high school, take AP World History. Yeah, I know it's not politics, but whatever. Take AP World History. I get a 2 on the AP exam. So I'm like, maybe history, maybe government, maybe U.S. history, maybe this isn't for me. And that's when I was like, okay, let me take AP Bio, let me take AP Chem, let me take these science heavy courses, and let me see what's tea. So did well on AP Chem and AP Bio, but that's kind of where I was like, you know what? I think it makes most sense to go for a science. And also seeing my pediatrician, like once I realized that being a lawyer, that route wasn't for me. Just seeing my pediatrician and just how she interacted with the kids and just how she spoke to me, like very motherly, as a black woman, knowing everything that I was experiencing as a black woman and seeing her, like, bro, I said it before, representation is so important.
It really is.
It's so important because knowing that she did the path that I want to do is just inspiring me. And it's honestly enough to keep me going through this difficult journey.
That was nice. I can definitely say the same. I had a different career path from when I was little to now, because at least yours was a lawyer. Mine was a baker. Hello? I wanted to be a baker. Nothing. Shout out to all the bakers out there, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And my family definitely was like, no, you definitely have to do something bigger in your future. I also relate to having a Black pediatrician. Mine is a male.
Okay.
While yours is a female. So I was still able to have that connection of like, hey, we're both like African Americans. He was able to treat me on certain things that's like looks different in like white patients. So I definitely feel that it is important to see like people that like look like you in the field, because it's like, hey, I know I could reach that point because they
exactly.
Well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such an inspiration. It really is. And I definitely want to be that inspiration to newer generations, because I feel like we all need that. Okay, so I want to dive deeper into how are you feeling about med school? Like, you did mention that you're taking 2 gap years before it, but how are you feeling about the process of like applying, and how do you feel like you're going to manage better? Because I know you mentioned that during your freshman and sophomore year of college, you was like kind of like not where you wanted to be. Yeah. But what new path are you going to take? Like, what fixes are you going to make so you're able to do better and prosper in med school?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. And for the first part of the question, I think how I'm feeling about medical school, I'm overwhelmed, because just to apply, I have to take this really big exam called the MCAT, and I have to have this number of clinical hours, and I have to have this experience and this research experience. And not going to lie, it's overwhelming at times, especially knowing that I'm taking a gap year. It's easier to compare my journey to others. And as far as like how I plan to improve while in med school, I've learned a lot my 4 years here at college, and one of them being what works best for me in terms of studying and staying on top of things. So I'm not really concerned about that aspect, but I am overwhelmed for the application process and what these 2 gap years is going to entail. Yeah, and another thing, like just knowing that by taking 2 gap years, my journey is going to be unconventional. You know what I mean? Like the non-traditional route. And knowing some of my counterparts like in class and my peers, they're going straight into med school or grad school. And sometimes it can be discouraging to look at their journey and say, oh, but they're going straight into it. Why couldn't I? Knowing that my freshman year, my sophomore year wasn't the best academically, mentally, a lot of reasons why. But again, just knowing like this isn't the end for me. And again, trusting God to lead me where he wants me to be, but also not being afraid to lean into what I've produced while here at Siena, and like how much I've grown and matured. And yeah, and you know, shameless plug for my research, just talking about like burnout and pre-med students. Like, part of the reason why I'm taking 2 gap years, I need a break. Why? Personally, my experience, my thoughts, I wouldn't want to go straight into medical school after barely making it. Like, by the skin of my teeth, making it to graduation, and just really taking the time to just not be a student and to experience life and to just enjoy all of those things that come from not being in school, but preparing myself for what's next, which is medical school.
And I do think it's super important to be able to enjoy life, because at the end of the day, you're still a human.
I'm a human.
Like, after through and through student, but we still have a life on the side that we're going to indulge in. And that's really good. I'm glad that you're taking that time to yourself to be able to reflect and look back and say like, hey, like I could take like a little break now. Like I could breathe a little better.
I could breathe. I just want to breathe.
That's important. That's important. So as you were saying, progress is definitely not linear. It is a little like discouraging to see people around you moving up, and you're feeling like, hey, like, wait, I'm supposed to be on track with that. But everyone's track isn't going to look the same, as you were saying. Like,
absolutely.
The journey, it's not about the everyone has a different journey. Like, the journey is not always about what's in between it from start to finish, but it is important, like the destination at the end.
Absolutely.
As long as you still arrive at the same spot, that is the important part.
And that's Dr. Mallory.
And that's on period.
Which is going to happen. So,
and I'm going to love to see that.
Because period.
Period. So, I also want to ask, because I heard you mention the MCAT. MCAT this, MCAT that. I always hear that word thrown around, that test, but what is it looking like for you? Like, how are you taking your steps to study for it? Or what are your feelings surrounding it?
Yeah, I definitely think because I'm taking a gap year, it will give me time to study. Because kudos to everyone who can do it. But me and knowing myself and how I struggled the beginning of my undergrad career, just knowing that I'm a student and I have to study for all these other exams outside of the MCAT. Now I get to actually study. So orgo, just like all of those topics, biochem, social sciences, don't get me to lying on air. But there's just so many topics that I feel like I'll have the leisure to study. And part of the meeting that I'm going to have with the health advisor, Valerie, is just to outline what my study schedule is going to look like, what those gap years are going to look like, and just, like organizing my time so that I am the most successful candidate for med school.
And that is important. That is important to be able to realize that you need to be in a good position to even get a start.
That part.
On how to prepare yourself for it, because it is a mentally draining thing.
It is.
So it is good that you're able to take a step back and realize hey, okay, I need a plan, I need a schedule, and you're meeting with the right people to get that done. I do have one more question.
Okay.
Just to wrap things up. Okay. So after you become Dr. Mallory, which it's gonna happen. I see it already. I'm a visionary. Yeah. I see it.
Yes.
What are you gonna do from that point on? Do you feel like that's gonna be the end of your journey, or are you gonna still pursue more beyond that? How's that looking for you?
Yeah. Again, I feel like everything that I say right now is still kind of premature because things can change tomorrow. But as far as the end of my journey, I don't think I'll ever reach the end of my journey until, But I think that's part of the reason why I chose biology, why I chose the science, is because there's always something to learn.
That is so true.
So even when I become Dr. Mallory, not if, when. Even when I become Dr. Mallory, there's still that desire. I'm a little kid again who wants to learn, how does this work, or how does this process work, or why does this happen? And I feel like biology gives me the room to do that, So I don't think it'll be the end of my journey, but perhaps just the start.
And I want to leave that with you, listeners, that curiosity, people always say curiosity killed the cat, but in this case, I feel like curiosity helped the cat to grow, to become something more. We like that. We love to see that. So thank you so much, Kelyse. We're going to miss you on the Cafe Damiata podcast. You always have a space here. You always have a spot. If you ever want to come back, never interview, we'll always have an open chair for you.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, and you did a great job. I could not have left this in anybody's hands but yours. So good job. You're a natural, and thank you for interviewing me.
Of course. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to the interview. Thank you. I want to say a big thank you to our listeners for sticking with us, especially during this transition from our previous host to me, the new host. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe so you can hopefully see more and tune in again, because I liked having you guys here with us today. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy your days and take care until the next time. Thank you.